Wonder Woman, issue 19, legacy number 819. Tom King writing with Daniel SAMPERE on the art. So this is kind of the end of the first big arc. Not the end of the run by any means. In fact, it kind of neatly suggests some stuff we're going to. And the issue starts with a blonde woman in a bed screaming as if she's about to give birth. And I'm like, who is this? What is going on? And what's so funny about this is that towards the end of the issue, because we actually get a lot more of the Sovereign talking to Lizzie in this issue, to the point where Lizzie even says a few things back to him, which felt kind of like a big deal because she's not been doing that for most of this 19 issues, is that he even says in his dialogue, oh, did you not remember that there was one thing about this story I've been telling that I have left out for a long time? And I'm like, yeah, you're right. The woman in the pill hall at the start of the whole run.
Yeah, I brought it up at least 3 times across this run. I go, yeah, what is she up to? What's going on there? She started all this and we've not gone back to it.
Yeah. So the fact that he even says in the dialogue, hey, yeah, I kind of left this out. I was intentionally concealing this. I thought it felt cool because it's something we've noticed and we've said, oh, when are we getting back to that? And then this was kind of like how we do indeed get back to it. So Lizzie has to sort of demand that he continue and end the story. And he's like, oh, what's the point? You know, she won. And it's like, oh no, like she got to the White House. Lizzie puts the lasso around him and demands that he say, but he also kind of like talks about something else that's happened in the future. We get a big reveal here that's propelling the rest of this run going forward, is that in this future that we are seeing where he's talking to Lizzie, at the very least, these characters, or at least he seems to be under the impression, if not, we can take this for truth, that the Wonder Girls, the Amazons, and Diana are all dead.
Yep.
They've all been killed. We see this page where Donna's lying dead, Yara's lying dead, so is Cassie, and then finally we see Wonder Woman herself with a dagger in her chest. And he talks about, was it Lissa was the name he brings up?
Alyssa, yeah.
And the big reveal at the end of the issue is he mentions that we gave birth, or we birthed Lissa, and it seems to be that Amazon who killed everyone in the pool hall and is giving birth in this issue in a secluded location with Etta Candy being there as the midwife, that her daughter is Lissa, that the Sovereign is the father, and this girl grows up to be the woman who wipes out the Amazons. This was a lot of big stuff, and which I kind of appreciate, because if this is kind of the end of this first section of the run and we're propelling into this next part, this felt like a really big thing to sort of move into and say, hey, the Sovereign was defeated, Wonder Woman, literally stormed into the White House and made him carve the word liar into his chest before imprisoning him in Themyscira. But this idea, the context of Lizzie coming to talk to him, is like they're on Themyscira and like all the other Amazons are already dead. Because it gives us this big thing to like stop, potentially, because presumably we're going to stop it somehow.
This is the thing that I had an issue with there, is like, they're on Themyscira, right? This is where the prison is.
Assuming he's still in the same prison that he was put in by Diana, yes.
Right. Because remember when this all started, which we kind of forgot, and I went back and I reread that, is that she needs John and Damien's help getting to this part of the prison.
That's right.
There was no sense of urgency early on from John or Damien about this. So you would think that if the death of Wonder Woman and all the Amazons is why she's here to talk to him, right? You would think it would have been kind of hinted at by John and Damien, but John and Damien at that time were kind of the vibe, we need to get this done with before your mom finds out.
Yeah, so, Matt, I've got thoughts on that, right?
Yes.
So far, we've just been taking it as truth, and I'm not so sure it is necessarily truth.
Right.
Because we're talking about lassos of lies, we're talking about all sorts of things. Is this something the Sovereign has just sort of like went delusional enough to believe has happened? Or, because I'm assuming there's some truth to it, because we end the issue with the birth of this Lissa.
Yes.
Who, at the very least, I have to assume like the hope that he has or had was that she would become this foe. And it is kind of interesting that in the same story that we gave Wonder Woman a daughter who's going to grow up to be a hero, that we also have the villain have a daughter who's going to be her opposite, effectively.
Right. Well, he even calls her the matriarch, right? Which is completely the opposite of what the Sovereign was all about. It's almost like this is the next step, right? Is the Sovereign really tried the patriarchy thing, and Diana beat it. So what's the next thing? Is now you're going to try to throw, a female version of that at her and see where it goes. My take on that is, as thinking back to how Lizzie got into the prison and all that other, is if he believes this has really happened, right? If the Sovereign is just like, hey, this is something that you can't stop, it's already been set in motion, and he believes that it's going to happen, then to him it's not a lie, right? So the lasso wouldn't affect him on that.
Oh yeah, no matter what, he believes this, what he's talking about.
So like, I think that going after reading that, I'm like, this is a thing that hasn't happened yet, right? So I think that Lizzie, what I think King's going to do is we're going to be telling the story now on two fronts, right? Because you don't introduce this character, Lissa, with Emily in this way, to not be going back and forth between them.
Yeah.
Also, there's a fun fact. Lissa, because she says, Emily says Lissa after the god, the child too, is a curse. Lissa is a minor goddess or spirit personifying mad rage, fury, and rabies in animals, right? So she is this personification of rage and fury that the Sovereign has had against Diana and what she stands for, which thematically I love.
Yeah. Actually, I was looking because I had a vague... A vague, just little memory there. At one point, did the Sovereign say to Lizzie something to the effect of, like, her either traveling through time, or is it just the idea that she, with the lasso of fate, because he mentions that, you're the first one to have the lasso of fate. Is the idea more that it's not happened yet, but Lizzie has seen it because she has the lasso of fate?
Right.
So, like, this visions we're seeing of them all lying on the beach is the idea that, like, this is what's supposed to happen. It's what the monarch or the Sovereign set into motion, and she is, like, seeing what the end result is of the use of this dagger, that's going to kill them, but it's not happened yet. And that would explain why, when she was going in with Damien and John, like, they're still talking about Diana being alive and whatnot.
Because he goes... Yeah, so he goes, do dead women still have laws? And she goes, what did you say? And he goes, you thought us ignorant, young one, disguising your true intentions here with bravado and arrogance. And she looks shocked and says, and this is where he says, Trinity, holder of the three lassos of fate, first of her kind and tragically the last. You found the dagger, right? So that doesn't mean that the dagger's been used, right? She just knows of the dagger that ends up in the heart of her mom, right? So maybe she has seen this, and he knows that she's seen it, being the holder of the lasso of fate.
Yeah. Why the dagger? Why is her family crest carved onto its handle? How did Lissa come to have it? Why did she use that weapon? Your true purpose here revealed. Yeah, it's like... Yeah, it's like he's trying to confuse her by bringing up these things that are coming up. But there is, like, that moment of recognition, because when she says, and her eyes widen, like, clearly there's something here that she is... I wonder if this is something that she's not told anyone else. Like, she's seen something from the future with the lasso of fate, and she's not told Damien or John. She's not even told her mum, and that's why this is so shocking to her, that he's referencing something that, like, only she's ever seen or knows about.
Right. How do you know about this? Right. Because it's something only she knows.
Yeah, and the idea is, of course, is that he has basically been planning it, however long. Like, he's
put this plan into motion. You got to think that Lizzie's only a little bit older than Lissa.
I mean, literally, like, weeks, if not maybe months, most. Yeah.
So this is a plan that's been however old she is here, in the making.
That's assuming, of course, the ending here is. Well, no, because we knew did we know she was pregnant back at the start of the run? Yes. We did, okay,
that was the thing, she was a pregnant Amazon, that's why she killed the pole hall, and then she's disappeared.
So, yeah, and all the stuff with Diana and the Sovereign and the White, the Oval Office, it's all very good watching him whimper and beg and cower and beg for no violence. And it kind of does that thing where she's making him take off his shirt, and it kind of does like the panels in the prison cell where he's taking his shirt off, along with the shirt in the White House.
Yep.
And eventually it reveals, of course, get that full page spread after Diana's insisting you know what to carve there, and it's the word liar. Because of all the lies to the people and the control of the country that he's had and all the rest of it, and for also obviously for his crimes against the Amazons, which have come up, which is also just this like it makes it really devious that his last like ditch effort was something he'd already done potentially, which is to have an Amazon birth the heir that could be strong enough to like get revenge for all the trouble that Diana's caused him.
Yeah, and he gets his own. Is what he wants.
Yeah. So So
I'm also looking at the knife. The knife is definitely different than the knife that, like, they're the same build, but it's been done up different here for Diana, right? The one that's in her chest looks, has the red, white, and blue and whatever.
Yeah. Well, I wonder if that was like an intentional thing. Like they either just covered it with their own paint job, or they made one that was the same the same one that was just to humiliate him and like carve a word into him was going to be the same type of dagger that killed Diana. Is the idea, is a vengeful thing.
Yep.
I could see that. Yeah, and then at the very, very end, after the baby's born and Etta's holding the baby. She's been looking after this Amazon, possibly at the behest of Diana, I would assume. She looks out the window, and we see they're being guarded by, like mouse man henchmen who look like they're in like Fallout or something. It looks like they're almost in like a post-apocalyptic setting.
Yeah, there's a militia vibe to them. They're wearing armbands. Yeah, one dude's got a big old axe and no sleeves. So it doesn't look like they're a unified force, right? They're not like an actual thing. So I get why you say Fallout. They look like they're living in the waste.
It's very makeshift. They've got a similar color scheme, but they're all wearing something a little bit different. But one of them does say, "I sent her the message, told her where we were. She'll come. Wonder Woman will save us." Which makes me wonder, where are they?
Yeah.
Like, where are they?
I don't know. This confused me so much, man.
This is such a wild, like, okay. Yeah. And it makes me, I don't know. Like, how did Etta end up here then? If they're somewhere weird, like if they're in another dimension, or if they're in some weird secluded place that's off the grid, or what? I don't know. So I want to give the issue credit because, I think all the scenes with the Sovereign cowering and begging and the liar in the chest, I think those were very cathartic and very satisfying, given everything that we've got to in this build-up over the last 4 issues of like Diana getting to him. And then I think his teases of this future are super like captivating because it's giving like this future stuff with Lizzie a lot more stakes, and this idea of like what's really at stake here, and it felt like a big deal, and I'm kind of excited to see where we're going with that. And then this ending was just a genuine what the hell? Like, like, I understand the part about the baby, this Lissa possibly being the anti, like, Wonder Woman, like the Antichrist kind of thing. Like, that's how I'm kind of reading it. Destined to be the evil version or whatever. But then this Mouse Man thing at the end, I'm just like, what the hell is this? I'm fascinated.
And on top of it, we're going to have to wait 2 months, because the next 2 are fill-ins with Tom King and Gilliam March. But they're Batman stories. Apparently there's a godly murder, and Diana goes to Bruce for help to solve it. So one of the gods gets whacked, but
look, if that's what keeps SAMPERE, on the run, doing all the proper stuff, that's fine. Would I rather just no issues instead of Gilliam March issues? Probably. But we'll see. We'll see if it's a fun little 2-part. It could be a fun story. So we'll see. But yeah, this is a wild cliffhanger to leave us on for this main part of the story.
So, I'm looking in issue 22. It says the Mouse Man cometh. The stage is set for our next tale. So the maniacal Mouse Man debuts, looking to prove himself against the Amazon Princess. So I'm wondering, who these guys are and why they have Etta and Emily and what they represent.
If Mouseman's opposing Wonder Woman, though, why is one of them saying, "Oh no, so it's not him"?
It's Etta.
Yes, I've just noticed that. Why didn't you correct me when I said that before? The speech bubble's going to the window.
Yeah. Because I was looking up other things, so I didn't catch it until right now.
The speech bubble that I was quoting comes from the window, so it's Etta saying that. So Mouseman. So that makes a little bit more sense to me.
Yes.
At least I still don't know like why Mouseman and his cronies have captured Etta and this Amazon. That makes me so everything So I said some stupid things and it made no sense, right? Yeah. Saying Etta was here at the behest of Wonder Woman. No, she's not. She's basically kidnapped, right? She's here under captivity with this Amazon. That would make me assume that Mouseman, at the very least, has agreed to like sort of look after the birth of Lissa for the Sovereign in some capacity.
I guess, yeah. Apparently, Wonder Woman Mouseman came up first in Wonder Woman 141. So it's been a while. August 1963. So this is a villain that's been around before. I'm sure we'll get a Tom King take because I'm definitely getting militia vibes from these guys. So I wonder if they've finally caught up with Emily because didn't the pool hall thing happen in like Montana?
Or something like that. I don't remember.
Yeah, so I'm wondering if this is where they are, if in some desolate part of the country, and that's why they're in deep. But yeah, who knows? Maskman's that's so weird.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a deeper pool of like trying to bring an older villain back and making them relevant in some modern way.
And he said if whatever makes SAMPERE on Caitlin Yarsky is going to be the artist that picks back up. So we'll be getting some SAMPERE later down the line, I think.
Oh well, maybe we won't though. Maybe this is SAMPERE's done. Maybe he was only doing Sovereign stuff.
I hope not.
I just assumed he'd be back, but if he's not on 22, then it may just be like a new artist now going forward.
Yeah.
But if we're moving to a new artist, why can't the new artist just start with issue 20? Why do we have to do Gilliam March?
Why are we subjected to Gilliam March? Yeah.
Everything is just
So back in the narrative view of the book, the way the story was told, the way that it's a capper for the Sovereign arc, but it also seeds so much stuff for the future. Again, Tom King's really good at this stuff.
Yeah, the thing that really sticks out to me on this last page is the fact that on the banner above the little hut, it says Mouseman knows. So that begs the question, what does he know? Does he know some of the things the Sovereign knows and talks about in this issue? Or is it something else? But the fact that he's keeping this Amazon, Emily, and her newborn here, the fact that that's who he's got captive does maybe suggest that it's somewhat related to the future stuff with the Sovereign. But we don't know. I think that's interesting, and I'm curious to see more of this stuff. And it's a shame we have to wait 3 months to get the next issue.
Yes,
the next real issue of this. Yes. But oh well. So we're getting into Act 2. I don't know how many acts Tom King's got planned, but this is the end of Act 1, and we're getting into Act 2. So yeah, good stuff. Yeah. All right. Well. Yeah, art's very good. We never really mentioned it. SAMPERE's great. Obviously, we always praise immensely.
So there's some really good stuff in here that I like the breakdowns and right. So as the Sovereign's recapping everything, we get these little blips of the story so far, like when she tears the lasso, right, and then when the Wonder Girls take down the Sovereign's fortune.
His lasso, just to be clear.
The lasso of lies. I'm sorry, and then Detective Chimp. Right, but they're all done in these squares, and there's 6 there, and it effortlessly recaps. It's almost like a recap page in the story, to lead you to that, to lead you to Wonder Woman staring down the White House, right? Which I believe that's how the last issue ended, right? So that's in the very last panel, and then it ends with her in the White House, or it opens, and he's standing there, and he looks so small, and she is so big, like in these 2 different panels. On the title page, and it just shows you there that SAMPERE visual storytelling is top notch.
He's a pathetic little man, and the art helps show that immensely. And everything with him begging later on and like whimpering on his knees, and like realizing that he has nowhere left to run, that all of the defenses have all been broken down, and now he's left to just actually answer for what he's done. It's very satisfying. He's been a despicable villain the entire time. It's been very easy to hate him. So, yeah, I mean, I really have no faults here. I think the only thing this issue that feels different to the rest of this run so far that I think's been pretty impeccable is the idea of introducing these weird new elements. And it's two new things. One is the Mouse Man stuff, which feels like it's going to be the more focus of the next arc. And this idea of this future, potentially, that Lizzie in some way recognizes or knows about, which is the death of all the Amazons, including her mother and all of her, I guess, aunts. I think we will call them. So, exciting stuff. All right. What are you rating Wonder Woman?
I'm going to give this a 9.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to... I'm almost tempted to go 9.5. I think I'll go with a 9 just purely for the reasons that some of the new stuff that's introduced, like we had to sort of think it through there and it's still a little bit confusing. And I think that'll be fine in time, and maybe it's supposed to be a little bit confusing.
Yeah.
But it wasn't entirely clear. Admittedly, I didn't think it was that confusing until you reminded me of how like her going to meet him started. Because that had been so long ago I'd forgotten that conversation.
And again, I could be very wrong. I remember I read it a while ago again when they were announcing the Lizzie backups, right? And I remember going back and reading it, and the whole vibe between her, Damien, and John was like, your mom can't find out that you're doing this. So,
and you're 100% positive that was the lead into her going to see Sovereign.
I won't say 100%. I'll put it about 80-20. I'll put it about 80-20. I'm pretty, yeah.
Because if it was one of the backups, it would have been something. It would have been a sillier tone thing. It wouldn't have been.
No. So this was the zero issue thing. It was like the introduction.
This is the special. Okay. Yeah.
The special. Yeah.
Right.
So, because it had been a minute since we had read that to when the series started, so I went back and I reread that, and yeah. So I might have to dig that back up. I'll have to find out what that was and where it is, but just to be sure. But again, this is one of my favorite Tom King runs that he's done, because like we all enjoy his shorter format, 12-issue maxi kind of stuff. But as a run goes, this is pretty strong.
Oh yeah, it's just fantastic. I've loved this run. So far, I should say, because we still got more to go. We have like more end game stuff kind of set up now and stuff to build to, which is cool. And we have another new character to deal with this Lissa. And Lissa and Lizzie are such similar names that that's not an accident either.
It is, and they're just like if she is supposed to be this curse, but Lizzie is a blessing, right? Because it's the soul of Steve in Diana. And it's this love-given form. And then Lissa is just this being of contempt and fury and rage.
She's the seed of a bastard. Let's just call her what she is.